Hello, my name is Lea Houlind and I work for CSC. I'm the Nordic Region Employer Branding Manager and I'm also the HR business partner for one of our largest business units within applications and consulting. CSC is a global IT service provider. We work in 70 countries and we have more than 90,000 employees worldwide. Here in the region we are present in 4 countries: Denmark, Norway, Sweden and Lithuania. We mainly serve clients within governments and large businesses. We have more than 2,000 employees in the region and we work from our more than 14 locations across the region. CSC began their employer branding journey in 2012 and we began that journey by looking at the facts and the data that were available at that point of time. We had a look at the top 100 ideal employer list across the 4 countries and we saw quite fast that we were only present in 1 out of the 4 countries. When we looked at that data, in the target groups that we found were very attractive, we saw that we were number 65 amongst the IT and business professionals and number 39 amongst the IT and business students in Denmark. So something had to be done. So we began our journey by involving our stakeholders. Our stakeholders was the entire executive board, but even more important, our VP and general manager of the region. It was very important to get him on board because he was to fund this program. We also had our HR director present and also the managing directors in all of the 4 countries. When we started the journey, we started looking at what CSC should be known for 5 years from now. It was very important to us that what we were doing now was something that could be distinct, credible and true also 5 years from now. So it was the future CSC that we wanted to create and the awareness about CSC and the attractiveness of CSC 5 years from now. So we engaged the entire executive board and we asked them to look at the attributes and select those that they thought would be the ones we should actually communicate 5 years from now. Once we had that data set, we compared that to the image analysis and the identity analysis we had both internally and external with the target groups in hand. And we were looking at IT and business students and professionals across all 4 countries. So we selected 5 value propositions that we found were true internally. Some were true, others had to be communicated better, but definitely something that was attractive in the target group amongst the employees that we were trying to attract. This is all about attraction and retention of the optimal employee for CSC. So it's very important that you have your stakeholder engaged and committed throughout the progress. It's very important that you communicate to them all times. It's very important that they are part of the steering committee because that's where you escalate matters to. From the beginning, we also set some very ambitious KPIs. It was very important for us to improve our image. We know that we're a great company, but we also want the outside world to see that. So we set some very aggressive KPIs. We wanted to become more attractive and for the right reasons. So we measured our KPIs against familiarity and against attractiveness. We also measure the external and internal association with our value propositions. Of course, we had the baseline 2 years from now, and we're measuring that baseline against the progress we've seen now 2 years along in our journey. And we could already see from the first year that we did this, that what we did actually had a significant impact in the target groups we were trying to attract. The first year we spent a lot of time on figuring out how to communicate our value propositions to the right target groups. So we started out by building a Facebook page and starting attracting the students because we knew that attracting the professionals will take so much more effort. So we took the low-hanging fruits and communicated on Facebook to that segment. And we could see 1 year ahead, we could see that had a significant impact on our value propositions and the association that the target group actually had with that. We also saw that in the familiarity, the awareness of CSC across all of the 4 countries. It went through the roof. We had a 100% increase in attractiveness and a 50% increase in awareness across all of the 4 countries. And all we did was create a campaign on Facebook. That, of course, gave us a lot of more initiative and ideas on what we could do next. Imagine if we had used even more money or had done a lot of more activities, what would that have impacted? How would that have impacted our value proposition, our brand? So what we're planning on doing now is actually becoming even more present on the universities that we find attractive in the regions across all of the 4 countries. We definitely want to spend a lot more money this year than we did last year. And now we actually have a lot more commitment amongst our stakeholders because we're basing our decisions on facts and data. It's so much easier to actually gain commitment with your stakeholders when you base your decisions on facts and data. It's so much easier to secure the funding also because they can see that the activities that we actually launch has an impact on our value propositions or the attractiveness and familiarity with CSC. It's also a lot easier to communicate internally when you base your decisions on facts and data. Our employees can actually see that this is actually is worthwhile doing. Also, the engagement of the employees, we're trying to build pride back into our employees because engagement has been low. So we're now communicating in a much more structured way about our value propositions today than we did 2 years ago. All of our executives know our 5 EVPs, and they also know that the last ones have to be true internally. So they're actually doing quite a lot to communicate about all the possibilities that exist internally for the employees. And hopefully we can see that this has risen or given an increase in the engagement when we look at the identity survey, which we're about to launch in a couple of months from now. So any advice at the end that I could give to you is to base your decision on facts and data. It is so much easier to get commitment and funding with your stakeholders. Also make sure that the stakeholders you involve are people that make the decisions in your company. Should be executives. You need employer branding on their agenda, and you need their focus to get the funding and the commitment in order to get both the resources but also the money to create the activities you want to create. Also, it's very important that you can measure your progress, and you can that when you base your decisions on facts and data. It's very easy to see that you're actually progressing the way you want. The KPIs we set 5 years from now will hopefully increase both the familiarity and attractiveness so that we'll go even more through the roof than we did the first year from now. And that's it from me.